Have you been considering homeschooling but are too scared and worried to actually take the plunge? Are you currently homeschooling and are considering quitting? If you said yes to either of those questions, then this is the video for you today. I used to be so scared to homeschool, and even 5 years in was still having doubts and wondering if I should just quit and send them to school. So know that you are not alone in feeling this way. This is the first video in a 3-part series for anyone considering homeschooling or just starting out. So hopefully these will be really helpful to you. Here's the thing. There's a large, well-founded organization that's been going on for your lifetime, your parents' lifetime, your grandparents' lifetime, that has been the norm, that aims to have all kids be a part of it. And that's the public school system. So naturally, you're going to have doubts and criticisms when you're thinking about doing something different than the norm. You may ask yourself, are these doubts my gut telling me that this is not the right thing for me and my family? Or is this the fear of the unknown? And perhaps once we get into homeschooling and see what it really is and what it really can be for our family, then I will finally feel at peace with my decision. Starting something new is always going to be scary. I mean, just that uncertainty, we don't like it. And I don't advise you making a rash decision by any means, but I do advise recognizing where your fear is really coming from. Let's walk through some of the biggest concerns that parents have when they're considering homeschooling, and hopefully I can help squash some of those fears for you. Number 1, I don't think I'm capable to teach my kids. So I would ask you, do they know how to walk? Do they know how to talk? Do they know how to use the potty? Do they know some animal sounds and some colors? Who taught them those things? You did. You did all of that. I think sometimes we put the schooling thing on such a pedestal when really we've been teaching our kids from the very beginning. Whether we really realized it or not, we've been teaching them from the get-go. And what's really great about homeschooling is that you don't just go from learning their letters straight to algebra. It's a steady learning curve and you'll be right on there with them. You want to know something that might make you a little more confident? Have you heard the latest test scores that are coming out of public schools? Whoa! Baltimore spent $21,000 on average per student, and yet 0 of their students are proficient in math across 23 schools. So that doesn't mean like, oh, they didn't score that well, some of the kids. They're saying 0 of those children are meeting a grade level expectation, not just that nobody did super well on the test. That's kind of crazy. They're not the only ones. Minnesota, not a single student proficient in math in 19 schools.
Massachusetts,
0 students proficient in reading or math in 60 public schools. I think you can at least do better than that. Trust me. My husband once said this to me and it really struck me. He said, why do you expect the same system that failed you to be able to teach your child to do a good job teaching your child? It doesn't make sense. And honestly, the curriculum does most of the heavy lifting for you. It's not like you're having to pull from your knowledge to teach your kid. You know, you're typically reading something to them. Or there are lots of video-based curriculums out there. We use several of those and love them, and it's such a huge help to me. And it does make me feel better about areas that I feel a little less confident teaching them in. I'm like, oh, well, I can use this video. And obviously there's tons of YouTube videos out there on essentially every topic that you can find to help reinforce certain subjects that you don't feel very good about. Number 2, the thought of my kids being home all day with me and me just having to correct them constantly is overwhelming. True. Whew. It's true. It's true. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. It's a lot. And this is likely going to be an ongoing issue that you've got to work through. But who better to do their correcting and their training than you? Even when I talk to friends of mine who have their kids at school, they still have similar frustrations to me when their kids are home. I think it's just more what you're used to. So if you do have a kid in school right now that you're considering pulling out, then yeah, it might be a bit of a shocker at first how much time you have together. But I think you'll also shed a lot of that mom guilt. So, pros and cons. And I do struggle with this one a lot because I do see the value in having them home with me, but I also really value my own alone time and want to have time to accomplish things without having to tend to them all the time. So I think there definitely needs to be very open and frequent communication between you and your spouse about scheduling in frequent and consistent breaks for you so that your schedule is broken up and you don't get to the point where you're just like exasperated. I could do a whole other video on this. This has definitely been an ever-changing work in progress for me and my husband. I've been so thankful for his willingness to listen to me when I'm having a meltdown, encourage me to get back up, but also really hearing me and offering his help to make things easier for me and maybe taking something off of my plate here and there. And I offer the same to him when he's stressed, because we're a team, right? You and your spouse, you're a team. And that team becomes even more essential when you decide to homeschool. We also run our own business together, so lots of teamwork needed over here. And that comes with plenty of headbutting that we have to work through. But even if you don't have a money-making job and your husband is the only money maker, he can still be on team homeschool in some way, shape, or form. You just might have to get a little creative. And I talk more about how we've scheduled our days and weeks in previous videos, and even since then, we've changed our schedule several times. So it's just important that you and your spouse can be open with each other and flexible with each other. We always say, teamwork makes the dream work. Number 3, it's gonna be too hard. Yep, it is. It's hard. Some things are easier, but obviously other things are going to be more challenging. If you're already homeschooling and you've had bad days and weeks and you felt like it's time to just throw in the towel, I just can't keep doing this. And let me first be sensitive and say that, like, obviously, every family is different. Different families can make decisions for yourselves that are good for you, and someone can make a different decision that's good for them. Okay, but if you feel called to homeschool and you feel like it is what's best for your family, just know that sometimes the relief you're looking for is just over this next hurdle. Sometimes you just need to remember why you chose to homeschool in the first place and remind yourself of all the good, and then set out to solve that particular pain point so that you guys can move forward. For those just considering homeschooling, this is why it's so important to write down why you want to homeschool, because it's something you're going to have to come back to on a hard day and talk it over with your spouse. Tell your mom why you want to homeschool. Tell your closest friends why you want to homeschool, so that you can go to these core people when you're having a hard time and they can help remind you and encourage you to get back on the horse and keep going. Worthwhile endeavors are not necessarily easy. Parenting is hard, but we keep doing it, right? We persevere, seeking for ways to improve ourselves and therefore our kids and our family atmosphere. It's the same with homeschooling. Homeschool is just extending your parenting into the realm of education. And with all that extra time at home, it's extending their opportunities to discover their own passions and pursue them. What more could we want for our kids? And number 4, I am so overwhelmed by the number of curriculums that are out there. I don't know if I'll pick the right one. Here's the cool thing. You are in charge of your homeschool, so you can change the curriculum anytime you want. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done, and I know you don't want to just get one and then have to change it. I totally understand that. But what's really great is there are so many reviews online too. You can look up how another family uses that curriculum so that you can feel more confident in how you can use it in your homeschool. And you can see if that seems like a good fit. You don't just have to look at the website for the curriculum. You can see how people are using it for real in their homeschool. That's what I love about this YouTube homeschool community, is that there's so many people sharing how they use their curriculum and which ones they like. I've certainly made several curriculum videos that I'll leave a link to the playlist below, where you can see all the different curriculums that we've picked from preschool to 5th grade and different curriculum reviews, so you can check those things out. And that's what I've done, is I've looked up these types of videos, and they make me feel so much less nervous about that curriculum, because I feel like I've gotten a chance to try it out. Even though I didn't try it out, I'm watching someone else do it. But that's given me a lot of confidence in choosing particular curriculums. And I'm actually going to be posting a video in 2 weeks about how I choose curriculum. So definitely hit that notification bell if you want to see that, and it'll notify you when the video is posted. And if just not knowing where to start is keeping you from beginning, next week's video is going to be about how to start homeschooling. So definitely come back next Wednesday afternoon and check that out. It is all in our mindset. Truly, the war on homeschool is really between our two ears. If we can squash those fears and tune out those negative thoughts, we can accomplish our heart's desire and God's will for our life. Take your worries to the Lord and ask Him for peace around your decision. I truly hope that you have been encouraged by this video today and already feel more confident in your own ability to homeschool your child. I believe in you and I'm here for you. Say hello in the comments below. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram if you'd like. I'll leave my handle up here, and I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.